I'm currently in Chile, and I found an MG, but one you probably had no idea about. Check this out. When you think of MG, your mind automatically thinks Miguel's garage. But then, right after you realize that I don't make any cars, you think the next logical thing, Maury's Garages. Maury's Garages, or MG as is widely known, has its origins as a British automaker. They were the founders of the two-seater, lightweight, fun-to-drive car back in the 1920s. For you youngsters out there, that's the equivalent of today's Mazda Miata, and partly where the Miata got its inspiration from. MG has a long history of changing ownership, starting with Morris merging with Austin in the British Motor Corporation in 1952. Then MG became the MG division of British Motor Company, or BMC, in 1967. The following year, MG got tangled up in a merger which created British Leyland Motor Corporation. In 1990, it changed hands again, going to Austin Rover Group. By the 2000s, MG was then part of the MG Rover Group. Regardless of having as many owners as a rental Ferrari, MG managed to create some of the finest and most remarkable cars known to mankind, both for the street and the track. Today, MG is owned by SAIC, a Chinese state-owned manufacturer. So similar to GM then. The MG GS is the first SUV offered by the company, and they have made every effort to keep the spirit of the MG sports car, and I wonder, is it any good? So I decided to drive up to the Andes and find out. So driving the MG GS, it's quite interesting. It's a manual 6-speed transmission. This one is equipped with a 1.5 liter engine turbo. The driving dynamics are quite interesting. It retains that sporty feel that you would expect from a brand like MG, but at the same time it's comfortable on everyday driving. The seating position is good, and you can have a lot of adjustability. The controls are within reach. Visibility is nice as well. You can see outside without any issues. The steering feedback is good and responsive. It's got that sporty feel. The suspension is well designed, and obviously it's more engaging because of the manual transmission. If you want to get the automatic, it's probably not as engaging. There's also an optional 2-liter engine and also optional 4-wheel drive. Before we start heading into the Andes, I wanted to show you the interior. Let's start with the key fob. It's a flip key fob, and as you can see, it's very standard for the time, similar to those made famous by Volkswagen. Now, stepping into the vehicle, the interior, as you can see, is very utilitarian as it was intended. There's no fancy gadgets or gimmicky devices in here. It has a modern layout. When I look around in here, it reminds me a lot of a Hyundai Santa Fe. You can see the MG badge displayed proudly in the middle of the steering wheel. The dash is very simple and only shows you what you need, like the engine RPM and your speed. I found it funny that the dash displays SAIC Motor when you turn the ignition on instead of showing the MG logo. It's like they're trying to slowly infiltrate their brand into your head with like subliminal messages. The entertainment system is in the middle, however, and it does show the MG logo, and it's nice to see. The system includes a navigation system and audio, the climate controls, and the 6-speed shifter.
The passenger side is roomy and comfortable for an SUV this size. Rear passengers also get a fair amount of legroom, but don't expect to fit your basketball team back here. Okay, and now back to the drive. We stop in at this fruit stand on the side of the road to get some homemade empanadas, take a break, and admire the magnificent view as we continue to climb up through the Andes. We're going up to that mountain right there. The location we are headed to is called El Embalse del Yeso, or roughly translated, the Plaster Reservoir. It is a water reservoir that gets its water from the Andes Mountains. This water is then retained here and sent to the city of Santiago as needed. Driving the MG GS up to the Andes Mountains has been quite an amazing experience. The views around these mountains are absolutely staggering and certainly unforgettable. Just simply take a look for yourself. This SUV is also an impressive value proposition, in my opinion. Every major manufacturer in the world has an SUV currently, except for Aston Martin, Bugatti, Chrysler doesn't have one as well, Lotus, McLaren, Ram, and Smart. But even some of these brands are already working on developing SUVs. MG didn't want to be left out, and so they developed this offering, the MG GS. This SUV reminds me a lot of the Hyundai Santa Fe and the Hyundai brand as a whole. It has that feel of a second generation Hyundai Santa Fe but with modern looks. So, the MG GS then. Adding the sports to sports utility vehicle. A Chinese manufactured car rooted in British sports car, but one that is actually not a copy of anything. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments below, hit that like button, and for more videos, subscribe to my channel.